So a typical deal is what, $400,000, like a 3-2?
Yeah, the median single family price in our town right now is about $530,000, but we don't do a lot of those deals for investors. Most of the deals we do is like you're talking about a 3-2 somewhere in the 350 to maybe $400,000 range that needs a little bit of love, and we do a lot of those types of deals.
So what's the driving factor behind Boise? So what's happening? So you mentioned in the last 70 years, the prices have tripled.
Hmm.
And in next 70 years, you are anticipating maybe doubling of the prices, right? So what's driving that?
It'll sound cheesy, but it's a great place to live. To be honest with you, it's clean. There's no crime. There's some really great established businesses here, and so there's a market for jobs, and there's a need for people to come here and work. Honestly, the biggest driving factor is on the West Coast. All of the states that we butt up against on the West Coast, Washington, Oregon, and California. And I'm not here to talk politics, so
Mhm.
I'm going to skirt like the specifics, but those are very liberal states and they are not landlord friendly. And it makes investing in real estate really hard there. And it makes starting businesses really difficult. Taxes are really high in those states, all that kind of stuff. Idaho, our state legislature prides itself on, they call themselves the most conservative state in the nation. And so, politics and specifics aside, they've created an atmosphere here where it's very landlord friendly, it's very business friendly, it's inexpensive to start a business and to run a business here. Our state has gone as far over the last few years, they've passed laws. For instance, in Idaho, it's illegal for an HOA to dictate property use. So an HOA cannot tell you you can't have a short-term rental anywhere in the state of Idaho. They can't tell you you can't have a long-term rental. It's illegal. They passed a law last year that making rent controls and fee regulation for investment properties illegal. And so HOAs, cities, HOAs, and counties are not allowed to institute any type of rent controls, property use regulations, or fee regulations for landlord. And so it's really a great place to invest in real estate. And the price you pay for that kind of stability is that, yeah, it's a little bit more expensive upfront, but property values are rising pretty regularly. The tenant base is really high quality. There are no, I was talking earlier about like C and D kind of quality properties. I wouldn't say there's anywhere in our valley that's a D area. There's a couple little pockets that I might consider C areas, but almost across the board, it's very middle class. There are nice, clean, single family homes and a park 2 blocks away from almost every place in this valley. It's just a nice, clean place to live. There's great food. I could talk forever. And you've seen, I probably have, but yeah, it's just a good
No, this is
place.
good because mostly what you hear is cities and HOAs kind of regulating
Hmm.
what you can or cannot do, or mostly what you cannot do. So it's really limited to what you can do. So this is interesting where Idaho is setting itself apart, saying you can do whatever you want to do. HOA, you cannot help.
It's funny. There's this kind of pushback here with people from California moving here. There's a lot of Californians that are moving here, which, and being in real estate, I think it's great. And ironically, I think most states think that there's a bunch of Californians moving there. but I had a client that bought or who was looking at buying a big parcel of land that's kind of out in the country here, in a very sparsely populated county, and he wanted to divide it up and build a few like 5 acre cabins, a few cabins and have 5 acre lots. And he asked me if I would call planning and zoning for the county and ask if that was possible. And so I called planning and zoning, and that county had one employee in planning and zoning. It was just one lady. I called her and had asked her a few questions, and she stopped me and she said, "Is the person you're talking to a Californian that's moving here?" And I said, "Yeah." And I thought she was going to say something about not wanting more Californians to move here. And I actually got a kick out of it. And she said, "You tell that man from California that if he comes to Idaho, he can do whatever the hell he wants with his land." And I got a kick out of that. But that's kind of the vibe here. If you buy property, the state has made it very clear you can do whatever you want with your property. I mean, obviously, there are some exceptions, but if you buy a
Yeah.
property and you want to rent it out and use it as an investment, you can do whatever you want with that property. And the state and the city are not going to intervene in it.